This morning we are crossing the Strait of Georgia. Pretty nice day for it. So we're headed up to Chatterbox Falls. We've heard that it's very beautiful, and we hear it's beautiful in winter and that there's less people, so we wanted to see it. We're going to spend the first night or two in Green Bay. It's about a 40 nautical mile trip to get from Green Bay to Princess Louisa Inlet. Also, we have to time it so that we get to Malibu Rapids at a certain time so we can get through.
On January 27th, 2022, we departed Nanaimo, BC at 8 a.m. We traveled 35 nautical miles. It took us about 6 hours, and we arrived there about 1:45-ish.
We made it across the Strait of Georgia. We can now see land. It's kind of been a foggy day. Eric has his radar on with just a little picture of the engine room. We've been taking it easy, going about 6.7 knots. See anything?
Some big houses.
Oh. I'd rather see a big whale. We're coming into Green Bay. We've been warned of some uncharted rocks, so we're being careful. Eric has his forward-facing sonar on. We have the other plotter here. As we're coming in, we've been told to stay to the west, not the east, because of rocks. So we have a couple houses over there. And there's another house with a float. We're supposed to go ahead and moor. Doesn't look like a cabin though. We're supposed to moor on the west side across from a cabin with a float. We're going up in there. So that depth finder isn't telling us anything. Now it's showing at 59 feet.
Oh, property for sale out there. What?
That's a good thing about the binoculars. Sometimes they have warning signs, but in this case, somebody's trying to sell their property. That might be the rock up there with the orange stick.
This is what our plotter looked like as we were anchoring. We later figured out that the satellite overlay created this shadow effect on the plotter.
And here we are. And our depth finder says it's 42 feet. Try number 3. We're at 42. Trying this spot. This is the ending spot. And here it is on this plotter. Oh, 45.6 feet. We replaced our anchor chain, and now we no longer have that orange yellow stuff on our anchor well.
The only boat that we saw the entire time we were anchored was this little boat who came in around high tide to throw a crab pot over the side. This is later in the day when the tide was lower.
When they have the plotter with a rock in the middle and all that dark blue, this is what you'll see.
Here's a closer up picture of the rock area later in the day.
That small boat came up and got to about the edge of that rock and backtracked as fast as they could. Not seen the pinnacle rock yet. Seems to be all okay over here. This is pretty steep shore here. We stayed an extra day in Green Bay just to relax and not be in a hurry. It's been an awesome day.
kind of foggy. It's kind of cold, but it's not too bad. Eric's just relaxing and reading a book. This is where we've lived for the last 3 days. It's been sunny, it's been rainy, but altogether it's been beautiful. It's morning, it's still dark outside, it's about 7:30 a.m. We need to get up and get going because we want to get through Malibu Rapids at the slack tide. The purpose of anchoring at Green Bay was actually to have a short enough run to be able to meet that objective. We moved around a little over the last 3 days, but really not much. The holding was a hard bottom with a mud on top. There was no current or wind in the anchorage. On January 30th, 2021, we departed Green Bay on Nelson Island at 8 a.m. We traveled 44 nautical miles and we arrived at Chatterbox Falls just under 9 hours. This includes the time that we had to circle because we got to the rapids too early.
So we're just coming out of Agamemnon Channel, and there's a gale warning for the Strait of Georgia, although we're not in the Strait of Georgia, but it is blowing up to 25, 30 knots in this area, and we're experiencing some head seas. I think we're going to be okay. We're going to plod on, see what happens. We're about 6 hours from Chatterbox Falls, and so we're going to continue on. The daylight's in our favor to get through there at high tide, but we'll see what happens.
Well, we're now in Prince of Wales Reach, and I thought it would get better. It's gotten a little bit better. The waves don't have as much white caps on them, but we're still getting quite a bit of wind, and it's raining, but it's fine here in the boat. We're getting 25 knots of wind routinely. Every so often it goes up to 30. Check that out. Talk about a houseboat. It looks like that whole thing is on a barge. And there's additional barges with the fuel and whatever else they have. So the trick to this is it's going to take us 6 hours to get to the pass that we have to get through. If we miss the timing of the pass, or if something happens, it's 6 hours to get back. And it's winter daylight, not summer daylight. So it's going to get dark if we mess up. So hopefully we've got this all right. So I would go outside, but I'd have to open all the dogs. It might get cold in here. The dogs are these things here, and what they do is they pull the door tight and keep it airtight. Probably watertight too, I hope. Well, we got here 2 hours early. So we've been running the wing engine to keep it practiced. We're keeping an eye on the current. We're almost at slack tide, we believe. If we're wrong, we're in for a heck of a ride. There's snow in the water.
Securite, securite, securite. Havaseas, Havaseas, Havaseas. Havaseas will transit Malibu Rapids northbound into the inlet in about 5 minutes. All opposed to conserve traffic. Havaseas is standing by on 11 and 16.
The Malibu Club. Look at that swimming pool. It's steaming. Don't. Done? Words of wisdom? No.
Wait for the tide.
It's very much winter here. A lot of snow in the water. Eric is going outside to check to make sure that things are all okay. He pointed out to me that all this fresh water would allow for the water to freeze.
Well, this is definitely interesting. There's a lot of snow, not only on the land, but also in the water. Making Eric a little nervous that we might get frozen in. There's a lot of fresh water coming into this inlet. I'm making sure that we don't go anywhere, so I'm using this one to kind of show me how deep it should be, and this one showing me how deep it says it is. My other depth finder is not registering anything. It's gonna be slippery out there. Life jacket for sure, and I sure hope I don't fall in the water. In all reality, we aren't moving. It's almost like the snow is just kind of holding us in one spot. Wow. We're settled. It's quit snowing. It's beautiful. We are at Chatterbox Falls, and we are here all by ourselves in winter. Somebody should be doing a winter cruising guide. We came in yesterday and it was snowing. And the more it snowed, the more snow that stayed in the water. And our big concern was that it would freeze and we would be frozen and stuck here. This morning we got up, and much to our relief, the snow has actually melted. It's a sunnier day. We had some rain earlier, but now it's beautiful. Look at this gorgeous sunset. Feels like Alaska?
Pretty cool.
Enjoying yourself?
I am. Blue sky over there.
Pretty sunset.
Cold beer right here.
Check out this sunset. We're gonna get out and take a little walk today. Look at those mountains. Falls, and we're gonna go check it out. Let distant off leash for just a little bit. I don't know if there's bears around here.
No,
So 55 feet's the max for these docks.
stop.
Distant is now on a leash.
Chewing on it.
They've got a donation, $20 for a vessel moored to the dock and 10 for vessels tied to mooring buoys.
Stop it, David.
And Distance trying to chew on our leash.
Stop it.
So there's a nice little trail coming up. A lot of snow on it in winter.
These spectacular lands surrounding the head of Prince Louisa Inlet have been protected in perpetuity by the Princess Louisa International Society and the Nature Conservation of Canada. The conservation of the 2,212 acres of coastal fjord landscape that surround the original park boundaries was made possible through the generous contributions of the Tula Foundation, Weyerhaeuser, and many other individual donors. The property is managed in partnership with the BC Parks. Chatterbox Falls is accessible only by boat or airplane. The melting mountain snowpack creates as many as 60 waterfalls cascading down massive granite walls. The granite-walled gorge rises sharply from the water's edge to heights in excess of 7,000 feet. Almost completely enclosed, the inlet is 1,000 feet deep. The park contains a number of campsites, a ranger cabin, picnic shelter, and toilets. For boaters, there's a mooring buoy, stern pins, and a boat dock and a dinghy dock. Walking trails provide access to nearby scenic features. Unfortunately, because it was winter and there was so much snow, we weren't able to hike any of the trails.
Well, it's pretty, but the trails are kind of hard to climb in winter. But it is nice being alone, so it depends. Do you want trails or do you want to be by yourself with nature? And by nature, we're sitting in a chair reading our book, gazing at this. Wow. What are you doing?
Placing outlets.
Why did it need to be replaced?
Because they were worn out. Plugs would fall out of them.
I did notice that.
Now we have USB chargers. And this is the very last one in the whole boat. This is the last one right here, the last wire right here.
What if I find another one?
Well, I'm all out of outlets. I'll have to order some more, but it goes off the list after this one right here.
It's kind of nice that that table goes up. Works.
It all works. No sparks, no smoke.
That's good.
Oh yeah. Oh, hold it. Oh yeah. That's pretty
Nice.
nice.
A lot brighter.
Get these changed out and something under there, and it'll be, you know.
So it's all snowy. We're here all alone. And we get up from our naps. And look what we see. Another Nordhavn. We didn't even see them come in. Well, it's morning. I think Eric got a little bored, so we are taking off. Taking Distant for her last walk. I think she's smelling somebody else. Pretty morning, a little drizzly. Since it's winter and I've been watching all those other people with lines that have been frozen, we decided to just wrap ours through the dock and back into the boat. So hopefully that will make things easier this morning. Slack tide is about 8:30, so we're up early to get out of here and get to it. My story is we're leaving today because Eric got bored. Eric's story is we're leaving today because the tide is earlier.
Because we only have so much daylight to get to our next anchorage, and it's a long run out of here. And this autopilot's acting up.
Uh-oh. So we have an interesting problem right now.
Things are coming around. That's great.
The autopilot was not working when we started out, and we think it's because of the GPS.
No, it was a sat compass that wasn't hooking up. It's now hooking up, and we now have on the autopilot the course, which matches with our satellite compass, and the boat, our AIS target, is now headed the right direction. And I think we're all good to go. We'll give her a shot here.
We think it's because we were so deep into the fjord. So just a heads up that if you come here, you might run into some issues, but they might resolve themselves before you get to the pass.
We really need to.
That doesn't feel like it's resolved. That doesn't feel resolved at all. Maybe it needs more time.
Yeah, we're going to give it some more time.
The good news is we have our
two other methods of steering the boat, and
they're both working, right?
And we just got one more satellite on GPS, so things are getting better. Yeah.
I'm glad my mom's not going to see this till we're safe and sound. We do have the plotter showing how we got in here, so we can follow that line and just use the joystick. By the way, that's the joystick that steers.
Or the steering wheel.
Yep, or the steering wheel, the thing that we've never used. We also have Eric's trusty paper chart. We're trying the autopilot again to see what happens.
It did go kind of haywire on the way in, so.
Oh, it did?
Yeah.
Is it working?
Yeah, it seems to be. No more ice.
Fjords are beautiful, but they do give you some pause.
We're stuck until the tide changes. So.
Yeah, you can't leave until the tide changes.
Yeah, that's the big thing.
And no, not the big thing. You can't communicate.
Well, yeah, true. You don't even get weather.
Yeah, you don't get the weather. You can't communicate by VHS. So we are headed out of here not knowing what the weather is.
Correct. But it looks pretty calm right here.
Yeah. It's gonna. You don't get any waves in here. We just figured out that our current chart is off a little bit with our calculations from ports and passes. Eric has explained that we are going to go take a peek at it, and that
we'll get pushed back in, not sucked in, because of which way the current's going.
The current is running into the Princess Louisa Inlet, and so incoming tide, high water ebb, which is, we're not quite sure, doesn't match up with our current chart on the computer, but it will push us back into the inlet. It will suck us out and cause us to go out before we want to go out. So
Okay, I should have stayed in bed.
this is all the fun about being in one of these places, Kimberly.
If I'd stayed in bed, I wouldn't even know about this.
We're trying to figure out if it's safe to go or if we need to wait. Either way, it shouldn't be 9 knots, right?
No, it's right now, even at the worst case scenario, it's 2 knots. We could probably just charge right through there.
Water is coming in.
Security, 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 security. Havaseas, Havaseas, Havaseas. Leaving Princess Louisa Inlet for Queen's Reach, headed roughly south. Any concerned or opposing traffic, Havaseas standing by on 16 and 11. Okay, you ready?
We're ready. You ready? You have your life jacket on? Good start. Better or worse than Ford's Terror?
Pretty similar, actually. Pretty similar. Not both are. Both wake you up.
And off we go to our next adventure on our home, the Havaseas.
Havaseas you next time.